Thanks for tuning in, folks. Just a wee warning, this week's episode may have a few stressors in it for some of you folks listening and watching out there. If it does, press pause and you can come back to it. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 5, Part 2 of our talk with Louise from Little Forget-Me-Nots.
You evaluate it. You sit back then and go, reflective practice. You sit and go, right, what has worked and what hasn't, what could we do better?
Yeah.
What's best suited? And that's how we've had how we work. And you're right to start this and see where it goes. Where else does your groups take place, Louise?
We also have one in Derry, and then we also have one in Lurgan then too. Once we get these first three the launch over with and see how it all and get a wee bit of stability with it, we're hoping to aim to do more of a structured sibling loss support, because that is a really, really huge thing that we're hearing from our audience, that the mummy and the daddy, they've said goodbye, or there has been a tragic event that has happened within the family and has left the whole family in a state of, oh my goodness, how am I going to bring this with me for the rest of my life? So that's impacting the entire family. And, you know, some mummies aren't in the position that they have all these children that they want to bring to just be cafe, but then others, families need to bring their families with them, maybe childcare issues or practical issues, but then also just to see another family and go, oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only family that has to navigate this.
I'm not alone.
Yeah. So we're aiming towards that in a couple of months' time, and we're hoping to launch that around Markerfelt area. So we're really trying to get it as close, local to more people, instead of having like one a month and then somebody travelling from Derry to Lurgan, you know.
We satellite places,
Yeah.
Because you're based in Lurgan, that's where the charity is. But like, we're based in Oma, but we can do we satellite.
Yeah, we can pop up anywhere.
We never know where we'd pop up.
I know.
And how do you feel looking back at all this?
I just go, my goodness, what am I doing? And honestly, I just can't. When it's growing and it's exciting. And I say to Catherine all the time, my goodness, I am so overwhelmed right now, because I need to know what I'm doing, because I don't want to this time next year to be like, oh my goodness, I should have did more work than last year. You know, you just have to stand back and just go, right, where's the bigger picture? Where did I see me going? Continue looking at where I'm going, because like as I said to you, I need to know what's in my cart, because then once I know I'm going shopping and I'm getting all of the stuff. I don't know if you understood me when I said that earlier on.
I want to do a Tesco shop earlier on.
Yeah. Because I need to physically know that I'm going to be helping 50 families over the next 10 months. I need to know that. And how am I going to do that? So that keeps me grounded, and that keeps me, that I'm not going off in a wee tangent.
Yeah, but do you never sit back and go and be proud of?
It is hard. It's hard. I'm very hard on myself. I don't know if you are like that.
How long is the charity
so
going?
This is it's coming up to its fourth year.
So it is early stage, because I remember being like that myself. I was so in the moment. I was so in the vision and trying to, I suppose, reach more people, get more education, because education, as we know, is so empowering, and people hold the answers within.
Yeah.
It's only now that the team I've surrounded myself with, and the good people, and they would often go, Una, often take a reflection, take a step back, look where your story has started. And I agree with you, and I get embarrassed. It's not about me, support together. It has to keep going.
Yeah.
But it has started from a story, a feeling, a loss, a dark place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trying to climb ourselves out of it.
I know.
And hope. We pinhole of hope. So you're saying you're hard on yourself. But often I think it's so important to give yourself that big hug and be so proud of what you've achieved, Louise.
And the mummies that you've helped.
I know. Thank you. I know sometimes you have to reflect and
If you were a Yankee, you'd be, I know, you'd be going, I'm mighty. I'm not going for bad men. I'm not against Americans. My cousins are Americans. I love them to pieces. But I'm saying we're not very good at taking compliments. In Ireland, we throw them back. That's a lovely top. No, it's not. I got that in Primark. It's only £5. No, you just go, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's about, and I think it is because this has become little forget-me-nots, a bit like Support Together is another child within my family. My children, my husband have invested in Support Together. So has your family.
Yeah, yeah.
And isn't it a pride? Like when I heard your story and speaking to Catherine and just that whole thing, goes, I think it's so important we work together. We've a lot to give to our communities.
Yeah.
And we're very proud of you, Louise.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And I know Catherine is, and the mothers, if mothers and fathers, like it's a whole ripple effect.
I know.
And you're not coming in with this. It has to be this. It has to be that. And no. You need to be. The child needs to be 2, or the child needs to be. No, a loss is loss.
Yeah.
What does that look like for that individual person?
I know. I was actually I was talking to Nicolette, our Just Be Cafe girl, and I was trying to, I had this conversation with her recently, and I was like, right, how can I align myself with another charity that is supporting? So if we were an addiction charity, the person has an addiction, regardless what that addiction is. And this is it. And I've chose to bring it with me. It's always going to be there. So how am I going to put things in place to support myself that I'm going to grow around this addiction? That's what the Little Forget-Me-Nots Trust is. They're a charity. If I only had an addiction of only smoking 2 fags a day, I was saying fags, cigarettes. If I only had but if that was my addiction, I was smoking 2 cigarettes a day, or if I drank half a bottle of wine a day or something like that, and I wanted to change that, but that ruined my life. If that was my addiction, that's still a thing that I want to change. The same way if I drank 2 bottles of wine a day or whatever, that's going to be there. But how the Little Forget-Me-Nots Trust has that loss there, and regardless what that loss is, that's your loss. And what we are trying to do is help you build your life around that loss. And obviously if you're an addict, you're not going to be talking about it. You don't want to bring that into a conversation, and you don't want to be saying, here, hello, I'm Louise and I drink 2 bottles of wine a day. You don't do that. The same way with a loss, you don't bring that into the conversation, but you like sharing a room with somebody that gets that grief. Yeah, somebody understands it. Gut-wrenching grief that you feel when you've lost somebody that you've made. It's horrendous. So I think I thought that made sense when I was explaining that to Nicolette the other day. If that's how I kind of see this charity.
I can see you two women very, very similar, because I think Louise is very visual as well as you are.
Oh. But Louise is a better businesswoman than me.
Well, no, I don't.
You have you're very good in structure. That's what I was saying to coming up in the car. Louise, I might need some coaching from you. I might need some, and then I can go in and maybe help you with stuff. And that it is women in business.
Yeah,
I know. That's what business.
That's what we're going on to.
I have 3 kids with me, and then 1 not with me. So yeah.
So you and we were going to talk about your
So you're a mother, you're a wife, a daughter. Any other wee titles there?
I know, yes. So I'm a funeral director and a funeral planner. So I've had that, and the reason really why I am that is because of my loss, really. So I was explaining earlier on, I just wouldn't even have opened the door into having my own charity or even thinking about becoming a funeral director if I didn't meet grief so early on. So if you would have asked me this time 10 years ago, which my dad did, do you want to take over the business? I went, no, because I'm happy, content. I'm organising lovely heritage events and I'm happy over here, and please leave me alone. And then fast forward 2 or 3 years and a new outlook in life, understanding why my dad really did his job and seeing how he helped me with the funeral of my little one, and him and my mum really cared for me in that moment. And I was like, if I did not have them, what would I have done? If I met somebody that wasn't on the same wavelength as me when I was in this moment of devastation, I wouldn't have even, not that it was not in any way, shape, or form a nice experience, but it was nicer knowing that I could sit and cry or be like, I can remember the moment that Daddy had said to me, Louise, do you want to take the week off and down in the back of the limo and I'll drive you down? And I said, no, Daddy, I want to take down in the back of my car because it'll probably be the last time that he'll be in it. Yeah. So, and he was like, oh, go on ahead. Simple wee tiny things that I felt like I could connect with. Yeah. And with my dad and go, if this was another person, would I have had the confidence to say that? Yeah. Because yourself, if you're in the doctors, just say for talk's sake, and you're like, oh, I have this other problem, but you're a man or a woman and can't really talk to you about it,
Yeah.
I suppose like we always say about the waddling duck syndrome, when you go somewhere, like especially a mommy, and the doctor says, right, like do this, do that, you just waddle along behind them and you just do as you think you have to say. But to be able, as you said, that meant so much to you.
Yes, and you had a voice there.
You had a voice. And so what you're given to the parents and to anybody who's coming through your doors for the funerals is that you're able to be their voice whenever they maybe haven't got a voice, or whenever they're and you've been there and you've the lived and learned. Unfortunately, you have the lived and learned of experience of it, but that makes you the better person than doing it, because there's nobody better to hold somebody coming in
that gets it. I know, because any family that comes in, obviously everybody's feeling so anxious. You're walking into a funeral director's, it's not, you don't want to be there, but you have to be there. And that's the unfortunate side of things. So when we get them settled, my first question to them is, have you any questions right now? Yeah. Like, because yourself, you're like walking in, you probably have a list and you want to start. You want to go, this is what I'll need to remember this when to ask her this. So I start with their questions instead of me asking them questions, because then they can have all of the what the hell moment is going on right now, and where's my person, where's this, what's happening, can I have this, can I have that? So that actually just helps me understand what type of family they are, and what type of service they want. And so I feel that kind of gets us on the same level ground. And then
like you even that I'm just like, whoa, that is amazing, because what you're providing is, and often in that situation, people feel out of control, and everything's taken away from them. And what you've done there is you've sat with that person and you're allowing them to have some self-management, and some control in a situation that often is absolutely awful, and life-changing. So I admit, but I'm just overwhelmed. Like that's fantastic, Louise.
Thank you. I know. Well, I'm learning from my mum and dad, honestly, and that's what they do. And as I said at the beginning of this conversation, 10 years ago, my dad asked me, was I interested in coming onto the business? And I wasn't. But then when I seen it in action of how they were caring for me.
And you felt it.
I felt it.
And that you could help to make a difference to families. Now, I suppose when somebody asks you, God, Louise, what do you work at?
I was going to say that. What do you say?
I work in computers.
Whenever I didn't realise what your job was whenever you came down that first day to meet us in the hub, and you're chatting on, and she's like, oh, we have a wee office, lovely wee corner office, and it's in a funeral director's. And I was like, oh, really? Funeral director's? Oh, I don't know. In the centre of the town, I was like, oh, maybe it's the location, because it's a real good location. And then I was like, actually, no. It's her family business. And then whenever Catherine had said she works in the funeral directors, and I was like, holy God.
So it must be a real conversation.
Yes.
Or else people go, all right, and move on. Or I'm intrigued. Does it?
Well, first, when you kind of say when you're a funeral director, you're like, okay. And then because I'm a woman, they're like, oh, okay. And you can just see all of their wee brain just going. But then when I open the door and when they see my perspective and why I want to be this, then they're like, oh, well, that makes more sense.
Oh,
like,
you were totally made for it.
Yeah, because people go, oh my goodness, death. And I'm like, but every day we talk about it in some way, shape or form. Like I have friends who are hairdressers and I'm like, I'm sure you once a day or at least once a week, somebody sits down and go, oh, such and such has died, and then you have to listen to them talking about it's a service-based business and you have to provide a service. It's just you're in the initial stage of grief, but you still have to listen to wee families and care for wee families the same way as a hairdresser still has to care for a wee family in a service-based business. And you didn't take care and make them felt heard, understood, and we understand what they hope for to celebrate somebody's life. So
is there many women in this business?
There's a good few in Northern Ireland, yes.
Is there?
Yeah,
I was going to say, where could we shout out to the Lurgan funeral directors?
But there's a couple of women funeral directors, and I just think it looks so elegant in the front of a funeral having a lady directed. It's just I just love seeing it. Not that I ever really thought to myself, goodness, that's what I want to be. Again, this is not where I thought I was going to be.
It was a family business. It was there when you didn't want it. No, until you came faced with loss and grief and grieving.
I know
the loss of your son.
My son,
and now you're part of that. And you did say up the road you were telling us that you're coming in with all these different ideas. Well, Mom and Dad, we need to doing that.
I know. Well, I personally, I'm not structured myself, but if I'm caring for anything business like, I have to go, well, I can't let myself down too much. So I have to attack it with some type of structure. So I bring it to my mum and dad's place that I hope I'm structured. And they're like, Louise, we've done it for years without this system in place. And I'm like, well, it's working now. I love it.
I need to know what stock I have.
Yeah. I need to know what stock you have, was right. And is it something that could you foresee your own children maybe? Could you see the business?
Well, quickly, right. My daughter is really arty and crafty. She's seen me for years. So she said to me the other day, she's like, Louise, Mummy, she said, Mummy, I would love to work with you. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, well, what kind of role? And she was like, no, I'd love to do something helping families. And I was like, well, what about an art therapist? And she was like, oh, yeah. So that's my goal for her. For about another 15 years, she's coming 10. But then I have two other sons, Lyndon and Jude. I have a Jude too.
You have a Jude as well?
Yeah. And I don't know. They're only Lyndon's only 7.
Of course, they're young, I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it something that you're going to foresee this is for now your future?
I can't say yes or no right now. Okay. Like they're too young. I don't know.
No, for you, but for mum and dad, this is a family business.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, if I back out now, I think they actually will cry.
Okay.
No, I'm in, and definitely no. It's such a lovely business. And
This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast, and we couldn't bring our podcast to you today without the support of Moody Activewear. Moody Activewear creates high quality functional activewear that you feel good doing the things you love. They don't just support your ass, they support your head as well, as they provide and donate 100% of their profits to support women's mental health, such as Support Together. Visit moodyactivewear.co.uk.
Like I've spoke to people in the past and they said it's an absolute honour.
Oh, it is.
An absolute honour to be able to be with a family.
Yeah.
And to be able to help them navigate through this time and give the person they love, as we would say over in Ireland, a damn good send-off.
Yeah. I know.
There's celebrate the life.
Yeah, because it's not a nice time of somebody's life, but I don't know how we do it over here, but I think we do it right. Yeah. Like, the whole wake and then everything is just, I think whoever started the tradition, I think they had their head screwed on properly because it gives people really time to come and spend time with the family and help reminisce of all of the stories that they've had about their loved one. And then they're like, oh, like I was with a wee family last night and they were like, I haven't seen that person in 40 years. And I'm like, that's so lovely. Like somebody came 40 years after they met that person to sit down and say their goodbyes with them. Like, you know, it's lovely. I think it's just, I know there's so many different traditions in all over the world, but I think we do it right.
And your face is just completely lit up.
It's lovely. It is lovely hearing it. It is.
And like what a delight for a family in your area to have.
I can imagine Louise in front of the hearse.
And well, I know. I think my dad wants to but as I said, I'm a funeral director and planner, so a lot of planning goes into it.
Yeah,
of course,
so much. So I'm wearing both hats, the top hat on the.
And you do you have and your because we would follow you on Instagram and stuff. And you show a wee bit of the inside, only a wee bit.
I know, because people I get questions every day. I think it's because I'm a woman, you get more questions. Daddy doesn't get as half the questions. And I'm like, Daddy, I got this question today. And he's like, God, Louise. And I'm like, but you get all the questions, but I try to be as transparent as possible. But also, it's an amazing, it is a fact of life. People are scared of it, and you have to be very mindful of that. Yeah. But you do get the people that are that scared that they overthink of it too. So I'm trying to be as transparent with it that you can come and ask me questions, especially in today's world. So many people are getting like they're being diagnosed with cancer every day. Like you're in a wee place that you can't go to your family and say, I'm panicking here.
Yeah.
But if somebody came up and started talking and they wanted to prepare their funeral before things get too bad, like I want them to feel comfortable enough to do that. So that's why I'm kind of showing a wee bit more, opening that door a bit more of people, because it is a thing that you do want to ask questions, but
you're
normalising it.
I know, because why
you're taking
why do we not?
Yeah, it's like you're taking a shame away from it. It's not a dirty secret. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to be inquisitive
when you're in that position that you're able then to ask your funeral director, I've seen this done before. Can we do this?
Well, I know Lisa, who we would have worked closely with, and Lisa worked with Support Together, and I was working for
Cancer Focus.
And Lisa's very in tune and works with a lot of families who a member of their families coming to end of life. But Lisa's prepared her her funeral.
Yeah.
And she said to me that I'm the tartar upper.
So
she's wrote all down. So I'll be coming in and I'll make sure the place all looks nice and all. And she was the very first person, and this was years ago, we heard this conversation. I just letting you know, in case Davy comes to you. You know, this is what in my passing, this is what he's coming to you for, because just everything wrote down. That is really a really good way of looking, because that's where you have that wee bit of
control.
That this is what I'd like it to look like, to as close as I can, and this is the one. And she made me look at things completely different, because that is, we're all going to be born, but we're all going out of this earth. We're going to die. That's one sure thing.
Yeah.
And we're afraid of it because we're afraid of
I know.
the end
don't
of
know
life
when it is.
and the loss.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where can we have that wee bit of self-control? And so we had this bit about, so I'm the tartar upper. Okay, I will make sure everything looks deadly.
Yeah. Well, from then a practical point of view, because when that person you have said goodbye to that person, the family, they're not as panicked.
Yes. Yeah.
They can go, this is done for me.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. When did I just show up? You know, they're getting the house, because their house is up, everything. There's about 100 cups and there's 100 chairs in the house. You know, it's a big event for them.
Do they want cremated? Do they want the and everybody gets in the confusion, and I want to do my best for them. But
so if there's a wee plan in place, that takes a lot of responsibility off the family, that they can go, I'm just going to make sure I can go down to the community hall and get the chairs, I can go and get the cups, I can go and do this, get this house sitting for a week, everything else is done, and they're just like, thank goodness.
I think that's where she's come from, because she has seen the other end of it, how families are incomplete, you know, just totally overwhelmed and feeling then I didn't do what I don't think I've done enough, and they might have wanted it this way. So there's where she's come in, and that wonderful conversation. You know, often you hear things like that, you nearly go, I don't want to hear this. Go, what are you saying? What are you talking about? Deaf.
Yeah.
You know, you nearly find your butt.
You're clenching your...
I don't want to hear, what are you saying? Where are you going there?
What's she planning?
But that conversation it made me completely look at things in a different way. Yeah. Really, it really has.
I know. So she's one of the ones that we love seeing coming in.
I'm going to have to go home and start planning Eamon.
Yeah.
Because God knows what he'd do.
I know.
You wouldn't have a clue.
But all I say is don't go too far down the road. You know, it's okay us chit-chatting about it, but let this be. Don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you want to do it. And then tick that box off and don't think about it ever again.
I've definitely said to my husband, and I make sure he hears this. I want to be cremated.
Yeah. It's on the rise. It's on the rise.
Yeah. So sprinkle me everywhere. All the way.
Should be everywhere.
Down in Donegal.
And Dunlow. Tartar upper. What have you been doing to fill your cuppa?
What have I been doing to fill my cuppa? I know, you know, I'm kind of glad now. I'm taking stock of that we're actually a stretch now in the nights. Mm-hmm. And what I mean is daylight. You know, it's not common now that we go out of work at 5 o'clock and it's pitch black. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm really embracing that. I'm noting it in my head as before. I probably didn't. And what I noted as well as seeing outside my house, which I never really noted any other year until they're up, the daffodils.
Oh, yes.
Are starting to grow. So I suppose what I'm doing is trying to take stock of stuff, trying to slow her down a bit and see the small stuff, because it's amazing to see, you know, seriously, like,
lovely.
You know, the nights aren't
Spring's
as long.
coming.
Yeah. Spring is in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know we've had all them storms and I believe snow's coming. Sure, bring her on.
Yeah.
You know, bring it on. So no, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I think I'm just slowing her down and observing more, looking at what's around me. Yeah.
I'm really interested to find out what Louise does to fill her cuppa.
Well, I try my best every day to do one form of exercise, and I'm trying my best now. And we're running for the Belfast Marathon this year, so we have a wee group chat, and I'm trying to encourage them every day to what to do. So I didn't get up early this morning because I had a really late night last night, but I'm going to try even for 15 minutes, just go for a walk, just something, so I can put it into the group chat and go, remember, we're doing this in May. You need to pull your finger
May
out.
will come very quick.
Yes.
I know.
Oh,
so we were talking about jogging last week now, and I said I might take it up on these, and we're taking the mick out of me. And I get too many black eyes.
But do it for a thing. It helps if you have a focus. So our focus.
Kira's going to do the Oma one, she was saying. So
and
I'll stand and cheerlead them on, and
yeah.
I'm good at that. I'm good at cheerleading.
She'll tartar up her. She'll be the end tartar up
and that night
cushions
out.
and all.
Fair play. Then you have a goal to work against, which is the Belfast. That's big. So you're doing a rail. Is it a rail?
It's a relay.
Oh, but still. How many is there? Is there like 5 or
5? Yeah, 5. So next year maybe we'll go to the whole marathon, but this year I had a really big fundraiser last year, which I think I'm still mentally.
Your dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 15-minute wee bursts every day, doing something on, like, it's just, you just need it to keep going. So, but it does help. Getting outside and going for a walk. Oh my goodness.
So whereabouts are you in the relay? Are you the start or the middle or the end?
I think I'm number 4, but that might change. So
you need to pick the route where there's no hills.
These exercise.
Oh, is there going to be hills? No, I don't want to know. No, I'll just do it. I'll just.
You need to
I'll follow the crowd.
You need to go around the route and then say, right, well, I'm going to do. Actually, number 5 would be nice because you're going over the finish line.
I know somebody actually said that to me, but I'm just going to be there. I'm just going to run the same way everybody else is running, and
what happens if there's a big massive hill in the middle of it?
It'll be grand.
Somebody has to push up it.
Yes.
She will achieve it. She's achieved many a big hill in her life.
Yeah, I'll just have to walk.
You can walk that way, but
yeah. What about you, Miss O?
Miss O.
What have you done to fill your cuppa?
I suppose mine's going to be very similar to what it was last week, ladies. It's going to be soaking in the love and the atmosphere and the achievements of our mummies. This week, seeing mummies making a breakthrough and meeting mummies that I have only ever had the privilege of speaking to on the phone and seeing them making that step. It's first class. I love seeing the progress mummies are making. I love seeing how far they're coming and able to champion them on. And as they were, a mummy I was speaking to yesterday had said to me, "Oh no, thank you so much." And I said, I only stood beside you. I stood side by side and you were able to do it.
She done all the hard work.
You did the hard work. I didn't do it for you. I was there side by side. I listened to you when you needed to listen to. And I'm here. You're here now in front of me and give me a big hug. So it's just, that's really getting me through it. Like there's days I go home and I'm sitting thinking, oh my God, Ciara, it's amazing. It's actually amazing.
You're soaking it all in. You're allowing yourself to be what?
Yeah. And I listen to
achievements of others.
Listen to the podcast we get the podcast early to get to be listened through. And
something we need delete.
And then I went to Asda on Sunday and on the way home pulled over to the side of the road because I knew I wasn't going to get finishing it if I had went home and listened to it. And I sat there and I thought to myself, oh, there's so many mummies that I know will get so much out of it by listening to it.
Yeah.
And I can see them. I'm sitting thinking, I need to make sure and say to her, maybe you to listen to it because that's something that like a tool she'll be able to bring on. Yeah. So I love that there, and I love having this podcast and the conversations we're having as a tool and a resource for the mummies we have. So I'm really
Yes, just podcast.
I'm taking her on.
For Ciara, I was kind of had breath. Then you can't get me to shut up.
I know. That's what happens.
I know.
I've a few jokes.
Do you smell on Louise?
Louise has listened to the podcast, so she knows there's jokes coming.
Smell his feet. No,
I know.
Sorry, jeez.
We were lying in bed last night, and I was asking my husband and my weans for some jokes to see what there was. Now, some of these have had to be.
No, I wouldn't allow her. I would not allow her.
Some of them weren't allowed.
No, we'd be cancelled.
And then I said, give her one, and she goes, that's not even funny. Right.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah, you mightn't get this one. So how do you get 4 elephants into a mini Louise?
I don't know. How do you get 4
How
elephants?
would you even play? 2
in the front and 2 in the back. Right? How do you get 4 giraffes into a mini?
I don't know.
Take the elephants out.
You wouldn't even get any of them.
We've a wee theme going here. What do you give an elephant with diarrhea?
I don't know, Ciara. What would you give an elephant with diarrhea?
Plenty of room. Now this is especially for my wee Anda. What's blue and not very heavy?
Don't know.
Light blue.
That's your son, though.
Yes, he was loving that one. And this is from Jude. What do you call a caveman's fart?
Rotten.
A blast from the past. He loved that one. And as we'll finish her off, if you have 4 apples in one hand and 6 in the other, what would you have? So 4 in one hand, 6 in the other.
A lot of apples.
Very big hands.
Well, very good.
Thank you so much, Louise, for coming down. We've talked forever, and it has been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much.
And we cannot wait to have you in the hub on the 12th of March. Very important day. Very important day. And like and subscribe. Hit like and subscribe on our YouTube. Yes.
Upload, download.
You know, what are you thinking of our wee videos? If there's anybody who has any wee jokes they want to send in to us, we will take them because we're running out this stage.
Help.
Help.
We need better.
And that's it. We'll see you again next week, folks.
Thank you very much. Mind yourself.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast. Brought to you by me, I'm the host, Mrs. O, Ciara O'Gowan, and my co-hosts Una Leonard and Gemma Cassidy. Today we are supported by Moody Activewear and produced by 9874 Creative.